welcome Life Gainers. I'm your host Lamont Tyson. Normally this is the part I like to say how handsome and cute or sexy I'm looking, but I'm in the presence of a fine woman who has done great things for the community, has been educating children for over a decade, has been a leader in child care centers for over a decade, and she met me and my wife, and she took pity on my little soul to come and turn around my child care center in our organization. Today I have my director, Miss Marquita Goodman Mickle. Miss Goodman, well, you're a lady, so I give ladies hugs. I don't just shake your hand. Come on over here, girl. How you doing today?
I am doing fine.
Well, you should have been the first person I got up here because that part of our business has been the most stressful part of our business.
Mm-hmm.
And when I brought you in, you was able to stop the bleeding and try to turn it around a little bit for us. So tell the people a little bit about your background and what has made you such a superstar director and a superstar in early child care.
Well, I've been in early child care for 10 years. Mm-hmm. I started out because my son had developmental delays, and that's when I found a love for the early intervention side of education. And I went to school and received my bachelor's degree at Mount Olive College. And now I've just been in the field, just working. I've worked myself up from the cook all the way up to a director in probably 2 years. Mm-hmm. And I've been in it ever since.
For those that don't know child care that well, tell people about the different levels of credentialing you can get in child care and how you've been able to take centers from basically temporary star license to 5-star.
It's just all about knowing the rules and regs. Not allowing people to tell you how it should be done, but actually going out doing the research and doing it yourself, and figuring it out on your own, so you'll be able to aid whenever they come in to tell you what you're doing right or wrong. Knowing what fits for your community and what fits in your center at that moment, because things change, just like children change on a daily basis. So there's really not no set system to actually knowing the credentials of what you need, because I've worked with people who have all the education in the world, and I've worked with people who just had credentials. But it's all about getting the right people who can give the right type of care that you need for that moment at that time in the area you're in.
Gotcha. You've worked in about 3 or 4 counties in early child care, is that correct?
Yes.
So you worked in your hometown, yes. Leland, what county is that?
Leland, North Carolina, which is Brunswick County.
Brunswick County.
And then across the bridge, New Hanover County.
You worked in New Hanover County.
And then Forsyth County.
And Forsyth County.
And now Gifford County.
Now Gifford County. So you've had the experience to see the culture from 4 different counties.
Yes.
And all in early child care.
Yes.
Which county has been your most difficult county to get a child care system going?
I would have to say Gifford County.
Gifford County?
Yes.
Not the county that receives some of the highest funding for nonprofit and child care organizations in all of North Carolina.
Yes.
What has been your challenges here in Gifford County?
I think a lack of collaboration with private child care facilities.
A lack of collaboration amongst whose part? All centers or the state or partnerships or Head Start organizations or?
I'm still learning this county. I've been working in this county for a year. So I don't want to point the finger anywhere because I found myself to never be a biased person.
Right.
So I'm still doing my research and going out and learning the community. But it's definitely from the larger organizations, I will say so far.
Just don't do a good enough job of collaborating with private centers, private child care.
And maybe helping them with resources and things like that. It's just different in Gifford County.
Gotcha.
And you know, I was at a training a couple of days ago, and one of the comments made was that, well, you know, New Hanover and Brunswick County isn't as large as Gifford County. No, those 2 counties are not as large as Gifford County. But obviously, whatever they are doing is working. So why can't a larger county adopt some of the functioning ways of smaller counties if it's working?
I think that just as much as human beings have pride, organizations have pride. And if you're a large organization, you want to say, we did this my way and it worked. and it's very hard to swallow the pill of something that's not working. Especially if you're going to continue to get funding, and if you're the vessel in those counties of all the funding for that particular entity that you serve, early child care, basketball, whatever. Why would you change? There's no point in changing. And so to that regard, I think it's a good testament that as a director, you're always going to training. So I had the privilege of going to an ABLE training with her yesterday to talk about the issues that are going on in early child care, in funding, in the barriers people are having to access to early child care, and the barriers families are having. This young lady joined our organization with a vision of reducing poverty through whole family education. It was a program we all came up with in our organization that we've been struggling to get funding for. And she's been spearheading the majority of it. What our program calls for is, what we do is start with working with children in early child care and figure out all the barriers of the home and help those people overcome those barriers through creating a significant family connector within our organization that connects the family to the resources needed. We have access to all the resources in the local community needed, and we help those families get to those resources, which is, in the training yesterday, we learned that's not what's going on in this county and a lot of other counties across the United States of America. Because people are afraid to collaborate because they're worried about the funding of their own program. Ms. Goodman, that's not sustainable. But the issue for me is these programs have been in working for 20 years, $20 billion in funding for 20 years, and we're not meeting the goals that the funders want to see. So how can we change that?
I'm a firm believer in leadership changes. Some people call me crazy, but I really don't stay at a job longer than 5 years. Why? Because you get in a comfort zone, and once you're in that comfort zone, if you feel like it was working to a certain extent to keep you moving, then that's where you stay.
Well, we better keep you away from politicians, because if some of them had to leave their job in 5 years, they'd probably go somewhere and. But
it allows a different outlook, and it's not to do away with what works. It just helps bring something fresh to what is working to make it work better or make it grow stronger. But that's just my take on it, on leadership.
Gotcha. And guys, she's also an entrepreneur. She does her own childcare director consulting services, and she's thinking about expanding. So if you're someone who's a director and you might want to take your services on the road like LeBron did in Miami, and then took his services back on the road and left my Miami Heat hanging and went back to Cleveland, how can people reach out to your consulting services?
You can reach out to me by emailing.
What's your email address?
It's long. It's Goodman, GOODMAN .Mickle, MICKLE EC consulting @gmail.com.
Yeah. She'll do you right. She's done us right. She's also a member of our nonprofit, which I just explained is what we're trying to do. And if you want to make a difference and support the program we're putting together to reduce poverty, foreign collaboration in Greensboro, go make a donation. GoFundMe.com, Tyson Place Teen and Community Revitalization Initiative. Hire a Miss Goodman Mickle. Send your kids to Tyson Place, and let's see what we can do to change some of the things that are going on in America that people have been having issues with. We believe in overcoming barriers, and that's what we're going to do together. Ms. Goodman, it's been an absolute pleasure to interview the director of my child care center. And might I say, you did good, girl. You get a round of applause. You did good. Don't forget to like that video, comment, subscribe. Go out there and get yourself a life game. Make a donation to Tyson Place Teen and Community Revitalization Initiative on GoFundMe.com. We're out.